Hi, this is Phyllis. Welcome back to my channel. Today's project is going to be this cute beaded rope. You don't have to make a bracelet, but you can make a bracelet, an anklet, a necklace, make a charm bracelet, but this is what we're doing today. It's a simple and quick project. I only used one color because I'm trying to match something that I had made the other day. I'm using my stainless steel findings and my nickel plated seed beads. And if you like this project, if you like what you see, stay tuned for my materials list and we will get started. The materials for today's project are size 8/0 seed beads, and these are my Mayuki and the nickel plated color. I'm also using size 11/0 seed beads. These are also Mayuki and the nickel plated color. I'm using a stop bead, and just make sure your stop bead is a bead that doesn't match your project so that you can't confuse it, mix it up into your work. And for my findings, I'm using a 10mm twisted jump ring, and that's stainless steel, 14x7 swivel bottom lobster claw, and that's stainless steel. I'm using 2 wire guardians, and they're also stainless steel, 1 beading needle. I'm going to use my 6-pound fire line in the smoke color, and my nippers. And you might want to have a some type of plier on hand just to make sure that your jump ring is closed completely, but that's optional just in case. And also I'm using a bead mat, and that is about it. What I'm going to do is cut about 48 inches of my fire line and thread it onto my needle and attach my jump ring. My stop bead. And if you like what you saw in my introduction and you want to make this quick, simple bracelet, stay tuned and we will get started. So I've got my needle threaded with my 48 inches of thread, and I strung on my stop bead, and I ran my stop bead down to, I got about 4 inches of tail thread at the bottom. You may not need that much because I'm only going to weave it in a little bit and cut it off. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to run my needle, pass my needle into this stop bead twice. Just, go back around it and make sure that it's not going to move. And from here, I'm going to string on one of my size 8 nickel plated seed beads. And I'm going to pass my needle into the wire guardian through the one hole and around the groove, and I'm going to pull the thread in. I'm going to hold it here so that to ensure that the thread sits in the groove, just like this. While it's loose, it has the tendency to slide out, but no worries. We're going to keep our eye on that. And before I do anything else, I'm going to string on my lobster claw and pull that down into the wire guardian. And once I have that into the wire guardian, I'm going to pinch the guardian. Just pinch it so that, as far as it will go. It's not going to close, but pinch it as far as it will go. And then take your needle and pass your needle into that 8/0 seed bead and pull your thread tight and make sure that you keep your eye on the thread that's in the groove of the wire guardian and make sure that that doesn't slide out of that groove, and we're good here. So now you just slide your stop bead out of the way. Okay, once here now, this is what you have your first part of your clasping on, and your wire guardian and your 8/0 seed bead. What we're going to do now is pretty simple and pretty repetitive. You're going to string on 7 of your size 11/0 seed beads. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and an 8/0 seed bead. Okay, and that's what you're going to do for the entire length of your chain. For today's video, of course, I'm going to make the bracelet because it's a little quicker. I can't really do it in real time. I mean, I would like to, but it's busy around here, so I may not get the opportunity for the quiet. So make sure you have 7 size 11 seed beads and 8/0. So every time you place string on 7 of your size 11/0s, put down an 8/0, and you're going to do that and for the entire length of your project minus the length of the clasp. So to continue, 7 11/0s, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 1 8/0, and continue to do that until you have the length, whatever you are making, a necklace, a bracelet, whatever you're making. And I'll see you at the end, and make sure that when you're at the end that you finish off with an 8/0 seed bead, and see you in a minute. So it didn't take me long, a couple of minutes to string on my succession of beads. I started off with a size 8/0, and I strung on 7 11/0s and an 8/0, 7 11/0s, and I'm all the way here. I think I have 14 8/0s on, and at this point I'm going to attach the other side of my clasp. So I'm stringing on my wire guardian, pass that needle through the 1 hole and around the groove. I'm sorry if I was out of frame. Pass that needle around the groove of that guardian, and while I'm here, I'm just going to pass the jump ring into the wire guardian, and I'm going to pinch that guardian shut. Well, I'm just going to pinch it. It's not going to close. These stainless steel ones are pretty temperamental, and they only go so far, and I don't want to compromise the hole by using a plier. You can compromise the groove or the hole. I just don't want to take the chance. So if it doesn't close, that's fine. I'm not going to fight with it because I have other things I need to do. Okay, anyway, I'm going to pull my thread down so that there are no gaps. Now, I don't want it to be bunched up, but I don't want gaps. So I'm going to pass my needle into the 8/0 and the first 11/0 after the 8/0. Hold your finger there and try to manage your thread that's in the guardian so that it doesn't come out of the groove. So I'm pulling down just so that I can see that my thread is in the guardian, and that I'm not choking it. I want it there. I don't want slack, but I don't want to choke it. Now it's going to be fiddly, it's going to be loose because this is just a stringing project. It doesn't require anything but the right materials and a little patience. I made the necklace. I made a 20-inch necklace the other day, and it took me about maybe a half hour to make the entire necklace. So this project is not going to take long at all. Now I am positioned in this size 11 seed bead right here. And what I'm going to do now, and we're done with our 8/0s. We don't need any more of those. We just move those off to the side. And what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to string on five seed beads, 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to pass my needle into the last seed bead next to the 8/0, the 8/0, and the subsequent size 11 seed bead, and I'm going to pull the thread. And be careful, manage the thread in your wire guardian. So just make sure that that's in there. When I did that necklace the other day, it was almost disaster, but I caught it before it came out, because this is just stringing and it's going to be loose. And this is what you're going to do. Too simple. You're going to string on 5 seed beads, and you're going to do the same thing. You're going to pass your needle through the last 11/0, the 8/0, and the subsequent 11/0. These 3 beads right here. And you're going to keep doing that until you get down to the end. And it's so repetitive. I like to make the projects simple like that, so that we don't really have to think. We can put ourselves on autopilot with that. Pass your needle through these 3 seed beads here, the 11/0, the 8/0, and the 11/0, and continue doing that until you get down to the end. And we're going to reinforce the lobster clasp, and we're going to come back down with our other pass, and I'll see you in a minute. So I'm back at my lobster clasp, my lobster claw, and I have strung on my 5 seed beads, and I'm going to pass my needle into the last 11/0 seed bead and the 8/0 seed bead, and if I can catch it, the first hole of my wire guardian. Yep, I caught it there, and pull my thread. And I'm going to continue advancing my needle through the hole here of my lobster claw, and into the second hole of my wire guardian, and the 8/0 seed bead and the 11/0 seed bead. Now when you pull your thread, remember we are managing the thread that's in the wire guardian. And let's see, did it sit in there? Yep, it's sitting in there. So just make sure that you keep your eye on that. And get my my tail thread out of the way. And remember, we're reinforcing. We're going to have to go back down and reinforce the other side too, because there's only one pass of thread around that wire guardian, and we want to have 2 passes. But we don't have to worry about reinforcing too much with the beaded portion, because we're adding another row, another layer of this looping here. So it's like layering here. So what we're going to do now, again, from this position, we're going to string on 5 seed beads, and we're going to do the same thing we just did. We're going to pass but this time it's set up for you. Pass your needle through the 11/0, the 8/0, and the 11/0 that are sitting there, those 3, and just pull your thread. We're going to do the same thing. And for this project, I'm only doing 3 layers. You can do more. You can use different colors. You can mix it up, use different colors of your strung base. If you want to use different colors of your 8/0s, and just make it colorful, springy, whatever. But I am doing this color because I just have something in mind, something simple that I want to to put on to match the the necklace that I made the other day, except for I don't have the necklace because when I made it, I was at my sister's, and guess who has it? She does. Okay, so I'm gonna I'm gonna have to make myself one, and maybe pass it through a bale or something. So continuing on, stringing on the 5 seed beads, passing through the 11-0, 8-0, and 11-0, and pulling the thread, and that's what our project is. Just simple beaded rope. Make it a chain, make it an anklet. You could do anything. Make a rubber one, make a ring, whatever it is you want to do. But this is so simple, and you just keep going by stringing on your 5 seed beads and passing through the 11-0, the 8-0, and the 11-0 until you get to the end. And once I get there, and that's going to be, I don't know, a minute or so, I'll turn the camera back on, and we'll reinforce that other end of the clasping together. So I'm back at my second half of my clasping, and I have made my 3rd layer of beads, and this is the cutest, simplest, quickest rope I've ever made in my life. And I have strung on my 5 seed beads, and I'm positioned coming out of the 11-0 here, right past the 8-0, and I'm just going to pass my needle into the 11-0 and the 8-0 seed bead, and then I'm going to pass my needle into the wire guardian, and I'm going to do that today. Yes, I am. There you go. I don't know, sometimes I just can't make it through there. All right, and then I'm going to go around, continue advancing around my guardian and through the hole, the loop, I'm sorry, my jump ring. My goodness. And I'm going to manage this. Still, we have to manage it, but I'm going to move that jump ring out of the way and pass my needle into the 2nd hole of this wire guardian and into the 8-0 and the 11-0. And I'm going to continue to manage the thread here. As you pull down, you're going to hold your finger on the wire guardian and make sure to guide that thread into the groove. And nope, I did not. I missed it. So just pull that out, and I know why I missed it, because I have a jump ring situation here that is not closed. So I'm just going to push that in there. Get the thread in there, and there we go. I made it work. I'm just going to make sure that that's in there. Yes. Success. Okay, now, and I'm going to turn this around so I can work away from myself. I don't know if I ever told you that I like working away from myself, but now we are positioned here, and our thread is exiting this size 11-0 seed bead, and it doesn't matter which one of these layers you go through. And also you can add another layer of these beads here if you want, as many times as you can fit your needle and thread through these 11-0 seed beads that are surrounding the 8-0s. You can keep doing it, but this is simple and it's quick and it looks full, and I like it like this. So this is where I'm going to stop. But now we want to finish it off, and I'm going to tie some knots with you. With my thread exiting this size 11-0 seed bead, I'm going to pass my needle through these 5 seed beads. It doesn't matter which 5, just 5, and then we're going to continue advancing. We're going to go through the 11-0 and the 8-0, and we're going to come out of there, and we're going to tie a knot. I'm going to tie a nice little half hitch, double knot, half hitch. So I'm going to hold on to my beadwork, and I'm going to make sure that I guide my thread between this 8/0 and this 11/0, and I'm going to pass my needle under those two beads, and I'm going to pull up a loop, and I want my loop positioned between the 8/0 and the 11/0, and I'm going to pass my needle into that loop twice. And when I do that, I'm going to make sure that my thread is still where I want it. I'm going to guide that down and pull the thread and pop that loop, pop that knot right in there, and then I'm going to advance my needle through the 11/0 seed bead just to make sure, yep, that our knot is where we want it. And I don't know if you could hear it, but you could definitely see where it popped right into that 11/0 seed bead. I'm going to do it again, pass my needle through 5 seed beads here on the layer, and then into this 11/0 and the next 8/0. Pull the thread, and not too much, because you really want to make sure that you keep your knot in that size 11/0 seed bead. And we're going to do the same thing with my thread positioned between this 8/0 and this 11/0. I'm going to pass my needle under those two beads, and if you have to spread your beadwork out, you do that, if you know, to make it easy for yourself. And you make sure that you pull that loop between that 11/0 and that 8/0, and pass the needle in once, twice, and make sure that you guide that knot in between those two beads. Pull it there, there you go. And then you pass your needle into this 11/0 right here. It doesn't matter if you go through a few more 11/0s when you do it, but I just want to make sure that you can see that that knot is right there, and when I pull my thread, it pops into that 11/0 seed bead. That's where you want it to be. And what I'm going to do is continue to advance my thread all the way down and to the other side, and when I meet up with my stop bead, I'm going to pull the stop bead off, and I'm going to tie my working thread and that tail thread together and pass my thread through this tail thread through a few of these beads going in this way, and I'm going to trim the thread. And when I get all that done, I'll be back with you. So I have used up all of my thread, and I have done as much reinforcing that I possibly could do by using up all of my thread. And this is my chain, well, my beaded rope here, and it's a dainty and sturdy at the same time, and and it's a really quick project. And again, you can use all the different colors of beads you want, different sizes. You don't have to have 2 different sizes. You can do anything you want and make it your own design. So I appreciate you hanging out with me today, and see you next time. Thanks.